YouTube, what is good? It's your boy Q from Next Level Reefing, and I'm back with another video. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you for all the love and support. I sure do appreciate it. And with that being said, make sure you hit that subscribe button and smash that notification bell so you can be notified of every video that I drop, which is every single Friday. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into it, people. So as promised, people, in last week's video, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a continuation update on what I purchased when I went out to Charlotte on those LFS stores out in that area. And I'm going to need y'all to sit back, relax, get a drink, a snack, whatever you need, because this is going to be a long update. And I told you last week that I had something special for you guys that is rare, that the item that I got for this tank, you hardly see it in a reef tank, but I'm gonna save the best for last. So make sure you stay tuned and stay all the way to the end, because I'm gonna tell you, it's something special, people. And for those of you that follow me on Instagram, y'all already know what time it is, but don't spoil it though. So I kind of went into a little depth on Instagram of the reason why I chose this particular item or animal or pet, or what may have you. And basically I've said, you know, I'm not too fond of one certain thing, so that's why I didn't go for that selection. And I've seen a lot of people having this certain thing, so that's why I didn't go for this selection. And like I said, it's very few YouTube channels that I've seen that had this particular item in their reef tank. Now there's some that have them in freshwater, in this particular species only tanks or something like that, or a dominant tank only, but I've never seen them in a reef tank. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and get straight into it. Oh, but one more thing. I also want to apologize. The lights had just turned on, so all the corals are just waking up, so that's why they kind of look kind of sad and depressed. Trust me, they're well and healthy, but the lights are just turning on, so they're just waking up. So I got some footage later on showing them a little bit more extended, so stay tuned for that. All right, so I want to start with the quarantine tank first, because there's something special in that tank. And those of you that have been following me since day one, you kind of seen like a picture that I have on the wall of it. You know what? Let me just go ahead and show you. All right, so first up on the list is going to be a website called KP Aquatics. And I don't know how I came across this, but I think I looked up a particular fish, and I was scrolling and trying to see which one had the best offer, which one had the best deals, which one, you know, whatever the case was. And that's where I came across them. And the fish that I'm talking about in particular is no other than the queen angel. Yes, I got an angelfish, a big angelfish. Right now it's a baby, it's a juvenile, but you know, those things get pretty. But with the queen angel specifically, I always love the bright, vibrant yellow and royal blue colors and that little halo going across its head right above the eyes. I always loved that about the fish. You know, even when I was a kid, that was one of the dream fish that I always wanted when I was growing up. So I came across them, and they had a steal of a deal, and it's sitting right here in quarantine. It's been in quarantine for, I think, since the 21st or 22nd, and she's been doing awesome. She's getting along with the other tank mates. She's eating very healthy, swimming all day, even at night she's swimming. I don't know when she has a rest, probably when I'm resting, but you know, all in all, she's doing fantastic, and I can't wait until she gets out of that juvenile state and grows into a full-grown angel. Now I know, you know, the regular size angelfish are kind of iffy being in a reef tank, but I've seen a couple of them on Instagram. I've seen a couple of YouTube videos, and you know, it's just like with any other fish. You can have a risky purple tang like I got, and you can have a risky angelfish. You know, just every fish is different. Same thing like every person is different. Same thing like every dog is different. Every fish you come across is going to be different. And you know, right now I'm going to take that risk And if it happens to where they she starts eating the corals, then I'll just take it out. But right now, I just want to give it a shot and see, how things are doing. And so far, at least she's getting along with the tank mates, and so far so good. So, yep, that's one of the updates. Okay, so while we're here in the quarantine tank, those of you that follow me on Instagram and also that have watched my previous YouTube videos, you already know that I pretty much had a crazy situation to where one of the fish just killed like 90% of my fish, so I kind of had to restock. And so that's basically what's in the quarantine tank other than the Queen Angel. So my fox face low, that's a whole new one. The powder blue is a whole new one. Dory, as you can see, if you can see her, she's looking healthy. That's because it's not the old one. That one actually passed away a few weeks ago. So I re-upped on that. And also the male and female blue jaw trigger. You don't see the female now. She's always hiding, but she is eating. She'll eat whenever she feels like eating, but most of the time during the day she's hiding. And she's kind of like the male blue jaw trigger I had before this blue jaw trigger, whereas if I come to the tank or prior to coming to the tank, she's like all through and swimming in the tank, but then as soon as I approach the room, she ducks and dives into one of the pipes. So as long as she's eating, as long as she's healthy, man, that's all that matters. Eventually she'll come out of her shell, which I hope. But so yeah, for the most part, everybody is doing great. Everybody's eating. The blue jaw trigger, that thing, he eats pretty much anything and everything, which is good. I love it. Everybody else pretty much eats everything as well. The only one that's kind of like finicky and within reason is I wouldn't say finicky, but doesn't eat everything, is the Queen Angel. So she'll eat pellets. She'll eat like the mysis and brine shrimp. The only thing that she doesn't eat, which I don't expect her to, is the algae or the seaweed that I put into the tank for the tang. So as far as, again, with the female blue jaw trigger, she pretty much eats, I haven't really seen her eat pellets, but she'll eat like the mysis and brine shrimp. I'm trying to get her to eat the pellets. I kind of like when it's feeding time, I kind of like, she stays in the pipe, so I kind of push the pellets like towards her way to kind of get her to kind of eat a little bit of it, but she hasn't done so yet. But as long as she's eating something, it's all that matters. And now I plan on keeping these guys in here for an extra 30 days. So I think the Queen Angel was in here first, so she'll be the first to come out of the tank. And then everybody else came within the same time frame, because most of them I got from Charlotte, which I'll break down what I got from where. And so yeah, all of them are going to stay in 30 days. I am supplementing Prezi Pro and copper into the tank. And so I'm doing it the first week or two that they're in the tank. Then I'm gonna do a drastic water change, and then the last 2 weeks, and I'm keeping an eye on them every day, making sure I don't see any parasites or anything like that. And again, making sure they're eating healthy and staying strong. I'm trying to get them as plump as I can, so that way when they get into the big tank and have to deal with the dumb powder blue, aka Scar, they can fend for themselves. Hopefully everything will be pretty much smooth. And I'm trying not to catch the purple tang and put him into one of my LFSs, because he is like the aggressor of the entire tank. No matter what I put in the tank, he's just like a straight bully. I'm hoping that doesn't stay the case, and yeah, we'll see. All right, so the blue jaw or blue throat trigger that I have in the tank, I got that guy from my man David out in Advanced Aquatics in Charlotte. And like I said, he's been doing nothing but great. He was actually doing good when I scoped him out at Advanced Aquatics, and he was running around eating everything. So I'm glad he's doing the same thing here. So, all right, so the female blue jaw trigger, the powder blue, and the hippo tang, I got all three of those from Nemo's Reef out at Charlotte, but they're really an Indian Trail, North Carolina, but that's still out in the Charlotte area. And again, like I said, they've been doing pretty good, for the exception of the female trigger kind of hiding out when I'm around, but that was expected to come, one of the two. But as long as, again, she's eating, she's healthy, she gets along with everybody else gets along with her, and that's all that matters at this point. Now the Fox Face actually got it from one of my LFSs, which was the Fish Room out in Raleigh area, and I saw that one because the other one that I had passed away, and I jumped at the opportunity because it was a steal of a deal. And again, like I said, they also do military discounts out here, so that was even a better deal. And yeah, he's getting along with the tank makes. He's eating pretty much everything, including the seaweed. So I love this guy. I'm still going to keep an eye on him for the next however many days left for his 30-day quarantine, and hopefully all goes well. I just can't wait to put these guys in the tank and see how they look into the Dream Tank. All right, so that is the current update on the quarantine tank. And let's go ahead and slide over to the big 180 Dream Tank. And as promised, here's that footage I was telling you guys about that has the torches fully extended. Well, not even fully extended, but a little more extended than they were when the lights first hit. And since we're already here on this side of the tank, we might as well go ahead and start the update right here. So I'm gonna give a little backstory before I tell you about these torches, and then it's gonna go all full circle, I promise. So on Instagram, you know, or if you don't know, there's a lot of stores that do raffles, you know. So for example, like if you want a Holy Grail torch that costs like $500, you can bid maybe $15, $25, and then, you know, get it pretty much a heck of a steal, right? So there's a particular store that I follow, which is called Drop Off Corals. So shout out to Drop Off Corals first and foremost. And my man Steve is the one that kind of like orchestrates the whole raffle, and I think the store is out in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. One thing's for sure, two things for certain: you better have your notifications on Instagram, and you better best friend Drop Off Corals, because my man Steve is a little slick when it comes to like dropping off those little raffle times, right? So he'll do it any time of the day, any day of the week. So you better have your notifications on. You better have your phone right next to you, because you can miss his deals. And I tell you, he has a steal of deals. And you guys know for me, so for this side right here that we're looking at now, on the right side, I wanted to cover all that with torches, and I was kind of lacking in that area. I had a bunch of hammers, and I'm like, man, I need some torches in my life. So Drop Off Corals posted earlier last week saying that they were going to have some fire items that they were going to be raffling off for the week, right? So he showed pictures of Nick torches, Hellfire torches, neon green torches, you name it. It was just torches galore. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely in this. I'm just gonna save up my little pennies and just go ham on these raffles, right? And usually my strategy is I pick two numbers, which are my lucky numbers, and I just stick with those numbers, because eventually they're going to hit those numbers, right? Eventually. So I just stick to it. The two numbers I pick, I just stick to it, and then eventually I'll get something, right? So I actually took a bid on, there was a 4-pack of Octospines, and I was like, yeah, I can fill some more of the sand bed with some Octospines, no problem. So yeah, I took a bid on those. I took a bid on some Nyx double head torches. I took a bid on, I think it was like a lime green torch. And I think I even took a bid on a Hellfire torch. I'm not sure, but I think it was the Hellfire torch, yeah. And he was doing a lot. He did say that he was going to do a lot of raffles that night, but I think I did like 4. So I'm like, okay, he's got to be done at this point. So I'm like, and I started calculating. I was like, whew, I done spent a lot. Let me go ahead and chillax for a sec. So then he pulls out the last one for the night, and it was a freezer burn torch. So I'm like, man, I wanted it, but I was like, the price was just like, I'm like, I already spent this. I'm like, I done went ham, and I knew I should have waited. So I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and just, cough this one up. All right, so let me tell you guys. So my strategy on sticking with the two same numbers, it works. But it just so happened it didn't work for none of the ones I bid on, right? Guess what the one it worked on? I'll wait. You're darn right. It worked on the doggone freezer burn torch. You know, I was so heated. And then not only that, but there was one more. I think it was either the lime torch or one of the torches. And so basically it has like a little Wheel of Fortune, little spinner that he has on it, right? So it was spinning. And then like it slowed down and I could see the name Next Level Reef on it. I'm like, uh-oh, I'm about to get it. And then it was like, it was teeter-tottering, right? And then it just went to the next person. I was like, oh, really, fam? Really? Needless to say, I went to sleep feeling a little salty that night. But this story actually has a happy ending. You know, so for some odd reason, I ended up waking up in the middle of the night and something told me to check my phone. So I check it and I see there's like a DM message. I'm like, okay, well, who's DMing me at like 2 o'clock in the morning? So it's a DM from my man Michael from Boyd Reef, right? So if you don't know, Boyd Reef also has a YouTube channel and Instagram. We follow each other. And so I go into the DM and he's like, hey man, I see that, you know, you was in a raffle on one of these joints and, you know, I want to give my winnings to you. I was like, wait a minute, hold on, wait, what? So I was like, hold on. Let me sit up. Let me rub this sleep out my eyes and let me read this text again to make sure I ain't tripping. So then I was like, man, my man Mike, like, did I have him on the phone when I was flipping out that I didn't win none of the raffles? And so, you know, I read the text and I responded back to him. I was like, yeah, man, you know, I'm just making sure, you know, it is what you're sending me. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm here to help out a fellow reefer. So, you know, I was like, bro, man, I sure do appreciate it, man. Like, you don't know, you came in a clutch. Like, you made my day. So once again, man, shouts out to Boyd Reef. I appreciate you. I can't wait till I'll be able to do the same thing to you, brother. Thanks again. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. All right, so the torch that's in the front, that's the one that I got from Boyd Reef, right? Boyd, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's either the Jester's torch or the Hellfire torch. I couldn't remember which one you gave me, and I forgot to hit you and talk to you and see which one it is. But either way, the one in the front, that's the one I got from my man. And so the one that's directly behind that is a double-headed pink tip torch, I believe. Pink tip with purple or green. I'm not sure, but I know it's a pink tip torch. Well, these LEDs be messing me up with this color. But anywho, I got that from Nemo's Reef. So that one was actually a pretty good deal as well. And the one behind that one, the small single head torch, I actually got that from Drop Off Corals. It was an arrangement between them and I. There was some hiccup that I had. I won a dragon torch, but I think I talked about this in one of my episodes. The dragon torch didn't make it because UP or FedEx was tripping on all kind of stuff, and it actually died during transition. So I got that one based off of the other one not being able to make it. And if you guys could let me know what torch that is, because when we were talking on Instagram, he said he had one single gold head left. Now I know that's not the Holy Grail gold because it has purple with green tips. I think that might be a dragon soul, but I'm not 100% sure. So if you guys actually know, leave it in the comments below so that I could actually write it down and know for future references. All right, next up is going to be this fiery red Ganipora. So I got this coral from David from Advanced Aquatics, and it's been doing okay. It's not as extended as it was in David's tank because it's adjusting, because like I said, my numbers are high. It's actually extending a little bit more than what it has within the week that I've gotten it, so that's a plus. And I'm just hoping and praying that it's just going to continue and thrive and just get a little bit bigger. Okay, and last but not least, or at least on the corals and the vertebrate side, I went into my LFS again, the fish room in Raleigh, and they had one of these anemones in the tank, and I was hoping that the clownfish that I have would host it, but it's not looking like it. So, and I've had anemones before, and I was kind of on the fence on getting one for the Dream Tank just because I know the hassle in keeping one. You know, they walk as they will across the tank. You know, they sting other corals or kill other corals. Some bubble tips, not all, can get aggressive and agitate your fish if they're big enough. And so I just didn't want to go through that issue. But because the doggone clownfish are agitating my octospines, I kind of had no choice. Or, I could have given up the clownfish, but I kind of like the chocolate clownfish and also wanted to get naked clownfish as well. So it seems that because of the chocolate clownfish not hosting, I'm hoping maybe the naked clownfish that I'm going to be getting in the future would host the anemone. And the funny thing with this anemone, I was like, I get to say on the recording when I record this video that, it's been abiding citizen. It hasn't moved since I had it for about a week. It's been staying put. That ain't the case. So where it currently is now, it just moved this morning, right? It was actually underneath the arch, like kind of like where it's at now. If you move over to behind it to the left, underneath that little lip right there, it was actually there for an entire week. I don't know why I decided to move there, but it did. And I actually like it because it's kind of keeping its distance from everything else. I'm hoping it stays there. It doesn't move. It's kind of still a little bit in my way because, like I told you guys before, I wanted to have that whole arch as a Zoa garden. But, it's not bugging anything right now. So, and I love the fact that it's still keeping its bubble tips. I know some anemones, when they move over to another tank, they either lose their bubble tips or they gain bubble tips. So the fact that it still stayed the same and keeping its bubble tips, I'm happy for it. All right, so as far as the fish, as you can see, orange shoulder is doing good. He's actually getting pretty plump because he's freaking greedy. Purple tang is also doing good, but still a bully, and I hate him. The chocolate, well, actually, you remember I had one chocolate or black ocellaris, and then I had a regular ocellaris. I got tired of the regular ocellaris nipping me every time I put my hand in the tank, so I sent that thing packing, and I grabbed another black ocellaris to match with the female one. And it took them a while to kind of adjust, but they finally have adjusted. I'm just hoping that they just move a little bit to the left and go towards that anemone and start hosting it. I might even do, my thing of doing my due diligence and seeing some tricks here and there to see if I can get them to host, but it's not that serious. And as far as Bella, man, this thing is a blessing. When I tell you this Bella, and I've never known any goby to eat everything. When I tell you this thing eats everything, it eats everything. It is like a regular tang when I start feeding the tank, and it'll go up, and start going to the food, and it's also eating algae. So later on, you'll see in the clip I have a lawnmower blender. I might not even show it because the film is already long, but I have a lawnmower blender that I specifically got for the green hair algae that I have in the tank. But yeah, that lawnmower blending is eating everything but. So he's fired and he's about to get kicked out of the palace. So, but Bella Goby, like I said, has been doing awesome, and I love that thing. All right, guys, so the moment is finally here. Sorry that I kept you guys waiting for so long, but like I said in the beginning, it was a lot to unpack, and the time is now come. All right, you guys ready? Bam! The boy got a stingray for the Dream Tank. Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, I always wanted something exotic for the tank. A queen angel is exotic to me, but I wanted something a little bit more above that. And when YouTube came along, I saw a couple of people having like sharks in their tanks, eels in their tanks. So first thing and foremost, eels remind me too much of snakes, and I don't really feel snakes, so that was out of the picture. Sharks, sharks are cool, but I feel like they're a little bit more of a hassle, and also they get like super huge, and then as far as transferring out of the tank, it's a little bit more delicate and harder to take out than it would be for a stingray. And so then I started doing my due diligence about stingrays, and there are 3 specific ones that are able to be tank raised for a saltwater tank. The one was blue spotted, which they are very difficult to take care of. There was another stingray, and then the one I have, which is the California stingray, not the blue spotted California stingray, just the regular California stingray. So I actually got this little guy from Upscale Aquatics out there in Huntersville / Charlotte, North Carolina. And like I said last week, my man Josh was the one that hooked me up. He actually said that this guy was born maybe like a couple weeks ago, and so he's like a tiny little thing. And man, I love this guy. Like, as you can see here, you know, I'm trying to feed him, which is pretty difficult. He just started learning to come up on the glass, and I can actually hand feed him. So I think that's pretty spectacular. Like I said, man, I've always wanted something like this, and so far so good. Like I said, he's eating pretty good. I feed him like 3 times a day. I feed him silver sides, and he seems to like that fairly well. I try to hide silver sides within the sand bed, so that way, you know, I don't have to do it myself at all times. But the other fish are just, like I said, they just straight up are getting on my nerves. The orange shoulder and the purple tang, they just try to eat every doggone thing. And now, a few things Josh did tell me to look out for was the tangs. He said be careful and observe them. Make sure they kind of like to nip at the tail or nip at the stingray. And for the angelfish, once I get them in the tank, he said keep an extra eye out on them, because angelfish like to go at their eyes. So he said, you know, if that happens, or if when the stingray gets too big for your tank, then you can always bring it back and then trade it in for something else. And that's what usually people do. Same thing with sharks or eels. Once they get too big for a certain size tank, they just go ahead and switch it out. Alrighty, we are finally finished with the update. As I told you guys before, it was a lot to unpack, and sorry that this video was long, but like I said, make sure you had your popcorn and your favorite juice ready, because it was a lot that I needed to get out. Even with last week's episode, I said I needed to kind of put it in the twofer. I should have put it in the threefer, but I just wanted to get it all out because I was super excited and I couldn't hold it in that I got a stingray for the tank. And I hope you guys will look forward to the next videos. I'll keep you guys updated and posted on what's going on with the stingray and also all the other fish too in quarantine. And if you guys are still watching, I thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I'll see you on the next one.